Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frappes in Frequency. If you are new to the space, then welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you've been hanging with me for a bit, welcome back. And you would have noticed that the background has once again changed. I think this is now the permanent spot. It's now just a matter of setting it up um, for success, I suppose. I don't know why it's being said that way. It's mainly just I just wanted a space where I can walk in, sit down, record, get on with the day instead of having to do a whole bunch of things and set up, which I spoke about, I think, in the last video. So perhaps there's this aspect that you are currently navigating where you're just trying to find some simplicity, or you just there's a need to make things simpler or have easy access, I would say, to things. Maybe not. We will see what gets spoken to today. We will see what comes up. I didn't actually sit down and um, write anything down per se due to time restrictions, but this is life, right? There's obviously a note to say that sometimes things don't always go according to plan, and that is okay. That is so okay. And I guess we've just got to be mindful of how we respond to change and how we react to change. So I do feel that that's in the general collective at the moment. Um, I'm definitely experiencing this in some way, and maybe you are too, or will or are about to. I mean, generally we go through change multiple times, like so many times through our life, right? And each time we go through the change, I feel like we come through stronger, as in we learn how to deal with it in a more productive, I'm hearing the word effective as well, effective way, or we just have more capacity to allow for it and are able to then surrender to what needs to happen as a result of um, I will say I am loving being back in this space only because it's a designated space and I get to look out the window again and see what's going on in nature. Not that I didn't in the other room, but there's no cars on this side. It's a much quieter space. So hopefully the audio doesn't play up. Hopefully the audio works okay. But yeah, maybe there's a revisiting of sorts as well. Maybe that's some kind of experience that is being explored and experienced right now, where either an idea that you held to in the past, or this might even be a physical person in your life, um, or whether it be a location maybe you're visiting, for example, your childhood um, town or whatever. Like, this is going to play out differently for different people, but there's some type of nostalgic effect or nostalgic essence. And I don't mean something that's necessarily gripping. It's just that, oh, there's that familiarity, like, oh, we are revisiting this again, and you're seeing it from a different perspective. This could be to do with a mindset. It could also be to do with stability, or, for example, a home. Maybe you've moved back into an old area where you used to live before, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. I'm getting this headachy feeling in the left side. Perhaps it's perhaps there might not necessarily be good memories in the past. I'm just it's just coming through this way. So this is what it's is being spoken to. Maybe they aren't necessarily fantastic recollections of being in that place, but it seems like there's no how does that want to be said? There's no like sensations about it. There's no thoughts about it. There's no, I'm hearing the word anguish. So in some way, shape, or form, there's been a shift of ideas or mindset or beliefs about what it is that you are currently revisiting. I don't know. And maybe that's something that you've always wanted. I'm seeing Nine of Cups. Maybe that's something that you've actually always wanted, is to be able to be in that space, whatever that is. Doesn't need to be, I'm not necessarily relating to this in a physical sense. Maybe it is a mindset. Um, you've always wanted this. I'm going to use the word detachment because it's coming through. Detachment to whatever it is, and that just wasn't able to be had before, and now it's like, oh yeah, okay, I can hold space for this thing and not get distracted, disrupted. I'm hearing the word traumatized, or it just doesn't have that capacity to disrupt. The actual word that wants to be used is not coming through, so it's almost like there's been a forgetting of the actual sensations, but there's still some memory attached to it. I don't know if this is going to make any sense. Maybe it's only for certain people who watch the video, not everybody, but I'm speaking to it because in general, whatever gets spoken to here is relatable in some way, shape, or form, right? So hello. Welcome. Let's take a couple of deep as breaths, and I'm hearing nourish ourselves. Interesting. I've actually got no water, no tea with me, or no coffee with me today. How will I go? How will I do? How will I survive? This is an interesting point of view here. It's like there's something amiss, something that okay, maybe on the flip side, there is something that is familiar to you that is, I'm hearing like safety blanket, something like a safety blanket, and it's not available for whatever reason, but you're realizing, okay, how do I navigate this situation, this person, this idea, this belief without my safety blanket, without my I'm being reminded of a video I recently posted, maybe a day or two ago, about embodied safety. And the actual video was recorded in 2024 and it was shared on my socials back then, which is when I had social media. So that was from 2024. So this might be relating to either May, so the fifth month, or it had, or maybe 2024, and I'm getting this weird um, feeling in the head, almost like this disorientation as I'm saying the timelines. So yeah, 2024 May the 28th. I think that's the day it was recorded, 28th of May. I cannot recall. But there's something here to be said about that specific time, because I do remember when I recorded that video in May of 2024 about embodied safety. So you might want to watch that. I just felt like to bring some of the archive stuff back, because some of it's actually still quite relevant, I've discovered. But maybe this is relevant for you as well, this discovery or rediscovery. But how does this want to be said? Before, when I recorded that video, a few days after that, so it was recorded on the 28th, on the 31st of May, I believe, and I hope I'm getting the timelines right, but it's something along these lines. I was going to launch a space for women online, or maybe, yeah, I think it was predominantly for women. Um, and I was going to share somatic practices, the stuff I'm sharing in here, not, not with cards or anything like that, but maybe the occasional card pulls. It was just going to be a space for women to engage with themselves, get to know themselves and things like that. And then I had this massive moment with Instagram where I was just deactivated, sorry, for no freaking reason, um, and decided to completely shut down social media. Deleted my Instagram. It took me a while, but I did it eventually. But I like deactivated, logged out, all of that sort of thing. And I was going through a massive mental shift, spiritual shift, and just a dropping of, I'm hearing dropping of the guard, but it was a dropping of jumping through these loops to stay quote unquote relevant, or it was just like an acknowledgement of the lack of alignment with that space. So maybe there's an aspect of you, or maybe you're currently navigating this dropping, this sort of like massive surrendering of something, and you're not quite sure how to place it, or how you're going to feel once you've done this thing. Maybe there's a lot of things going on, and you're asking, oh, okay, I'm going to bring it. This is almost like a freaking teal paragraph here. I'm linking it back. So perhaps the thing that you're revisiting are the memories, or maybe the thing that is like, oh, I don't have this familiar thing anymore. What am I going to do if I delete my social media? Am I still going to be relevant? Am I still going to be able to connect with people? There's all these kinds of things coming up. If I, and I'm just using social media as an example, because it's just presenting itself this way. If I leave Instagram, will I still have a connection to the outside world? Or will I still have a connection to this? Will I still feel that sense of belonging? Because it's like this detachment from, oh, I don't have my water, I don't have my tea. This has been my like identity, right? Frappes and frequency. This has been the quote unquote identity of the space. So if I don't have that, then what? If I don't have this familiar safety blanket, if I don't have that, then what? So, I might write that. That might be something, that might be the heading or something. If I have this, then what? Safety. So, yeah, I highly recommend the embodied safety video. That might help to maybe shift a perspective on that, or find safety within, because it's not actually the things that bring us the safety, it's our ties to the thing, if that makes sense. So okay. I hope we're chilled. I hope we're resourced enough. And when I say resource, I mean we're relaxed, we're feeling good, we've got our comfort, we've got our cushion. I don't have any drinks right now, so it's like I now need to navigate how to resource without those things, and I feel pretty okay, right? So there's also a note to say that even if you don't have your quote unquote safety blanket, or the thing that makes you feel safe, you will be okay. Change is always inevitable. That is the one truth we do know, is change, right? We don't know what's going to happen next year. We don't know what's going to happen in a month, next week, tomorrow, in a minute even. But what we do know is change is always inevitable. So there's something to be said about that. And I'm seeing Earth. So maybe a lot of grounding in whatever the way that looks like for you. Maybe you need to give yourself a new space, as in just a space where you can be with your thoughts, where you can be with yourself, and maybe it's outside, maybe it's in nature, maybe it's just in a quiet room or quiet corner. Um, maybe it's actually being physical, maybe needs some upregulation and some physical activity. So I might draw on some cards. I hope that didn't make too much noise when I touched the microphone. I forget that it's there now, so I'm trialing different microphones, and yeah, they're all annoying. Let me just tell you. So it's not like one is better than the other. But anyway, we shall figure it out. Now, this card, for some reason, stood up quite tall as I was trying to shuffle. So that's Leo. So the card says shine, right? Leo, in whichever capacity, is usually a sign of, or an archetype of, expression, self-expression, creativity, but is also a very heart-centered archetype. And okay, the card has number 5 on it, and 5 is the number for change. So this is definitely some kind of change that is happening, and maybe it's in relation to either creativity or a creative pursuit. I can definitely relate to that creative pursuit, or even if it's not a creative pursuit, maybe just an expression, maybe something like a way that you used to express yourself creatively, or just express yourself, period, is kind of resurfacing, and you're remembering, going, oh, I remember that. I remember how much I used to love doing that thing. And I can definitely speak to this myself personally as well. So it's almost like there's two sets of um, reflections that are kind of intersecting and taking place at the same time, overlapping slightly. That might be the case for some, maybe particularly if you are Leo, because we've at the time of this reflection, we've had Jupiter in Leo, and there's something else, Pluto in Aquarius. So there's some major intersection, maybe, but yes, if not in terms of creativity, definitely relational, like observing your connections, your friendships, your relationships. Maybe it is familiar people returning or reaching out or connecting with, or maybe you're just even thinking about them, or they're thinking about you. But there's a ferocity to this card. So I'm very interested to see what else comes out. There's a ferocity to this card. So I'll keep that on the side as a, I almost wanted to say portal. Interesting. That is the second time. Okay, so I tried to record this video on Friday, and it just didn't work out because there wasn't much time, and I was trying to, and in order for me to do everything, and because I wasn't in this room, actually I was in our bedroom, and I've honestly been feeling quite discombobulated with the amount of times I've moved the space, because it needs to happen, right? Change needs to happen, energy needs to be shifted. But I was trying to record, and it just wouldn't, like I did, but it didn't feel right to do it. And so I stopped. The Leo card came out. This card, Symbiosis, came out. Granted, it's come out in the reverse, and so has Journey. So I'll just speak to all the aspects there. I'm getting... Bottom of the deck, we've got tension, square, semi-square, although it's in the reverse. So there could have been I might leave that up. Yeah, that headache, and it's still there to some capacity. It's like a tension headache. So it's like either whatever this shift is, this changes, this thing that's resurfacing is creating some sort of tension, or that is slowly moving through. Because I feel it's not as intense anymore, but it's like it's still there to some capacity. If you do hear my kids, I apologize. Is what it is. Okay. There is massive shift happening for whoever's watching now. I've got the number 5. I've got, oh my Lord, I've got card number 5, card 56, card 52, card 55, card 51, 32, which is 5, and then card 28. I did say the 28th of May, so maybe the 28th has some relevance. 28th of May, 28th of the 5th. At the time of this reflection, it is the 26th, so I'll be very curious to see what happens on Tuesday, if anything. I'm just reporting, okay? Think of me as your little reporter of the current energies. Yeah, all these 5 cards. So I just feel like, what the hell? It's like a quiet intensity, man. It's like something brewing, but yeah, quiet intensity is probably the best way to describe it. It's like this undertone of something is happening I'm hearing the ether. Something is happening in the undertone, and it's not necessarily showing up out here, which is interesting because Leo is usually a sign of being out there. I just want to get a couple of cards from this deck. I don't know why I felt the need to pull from this deck, because it does have some type of predictive quality. I'm just speaking to what's being felt, sensed, engaged with now. We've got grudge holder. Let's get another one for the thread. Maybe maybe this is something you've been holding on to, or somebody else. Perhaps this is where the conflict has been sitting or been coming from. Not you, because shine. Radiate with truth. Your light triggers darkness. Stay unapologetically you. Okay, we've got 2 shine cards here. So there's and now there's unbothered. Which way is this card? Oh, unbothered. Why symbiosis in the reverse? So it's almost the sense of, sorry if the microphone is making a noise. I do want to hold space for this. I'm seeing Uranus as well, or Uranus, however the hell you pronounce that. And I feel like that has got to do with change as well. So this seems like an inner journey for sure. We've got the journey card, and we've also, or progressions journey, and we've also got symbiosis, trine sextile, but they've shown up in the reverse. Yeah, so I mean, what I'm getting from this card is like this gentle unwrapping and unbinding from something. And in the process, you're just kind of unbothered, shining through Leo energy, just doing what you need to do for yourself. Maybe you've stepped into maybe whatever you've done to get to this point has been through either religious pursuits, or maybe you're connecting more to self, connecting to yourself in whichever way that looks like. That could be religion, it could be meditation, spirituality, um, just more time outside, whatever, that's going to play out differently, right? There seems to be that whatever that thing is has been like a grounding force for you. On the card we've got the like a Bible and a cross. So it's that aspect, it's that part that's helped you to shine, to be yourself, to express yourself in I'm hearing things, but it's a bit jumbled up, so that it's like so I'm just going to allow it to, how does that want to be said? Well, the card is actually saying it perfectly. Radiate with truth. Your light triggers darkness. Stay unapologetically you. You've been stepping more into yourself. And so, what that's allowed you to do is to shift big time, because you've been doing this work. The Chiron card is here as well. Chiron card is about healing. Chiron is the healer. So, very much self invested. And I do feel a lot of people are moving towards this. The part is to not get caught up in the unwrapping, to how does that want to be said? If we get too caught up, we can get carried away, right? We can forget why we started in the beginning. We can forget. We can also too forget the things that bothered us in the first place. Maybe that's the familiar headachy thing coming back. Um, but as I said before, it just doesn't affect you the same way. There's an unbotheredness, but it's still there, and there's almost this this need to say, just be aware that there's this kind of idea that when we're healing, when we're growing, when we're changing and we're leaving things behind, it's almost like we do become this magnet, right? We become this magnet, and people are like, when I say we, I just mean, I'm just using it as a way to express this. I'm not saying, not posturing in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying, generally, when people step into a space of self love, self healing, self inquiry, whatever the case may be, it's like there's this aura if you want to put it that way. There's this aura, and people notice that. And the caveat of that is that you tend to, seeing 3010 on the clock, maybe that has some relevance. 3010, 30th October, I don't know. Yeah, the caveat is that it also will tend to shine to the ones that we don't want to kind of pull back into our field. It just happens. It just happens, right? It's just something that happens. So there's a need to just be mindful of not to get caught up in it, get re-wrapped in it. Just go about your merry, unbothered way. Unbothered. Yeah, unbothered. Because this energy feels like if this is a person, they're not loving it. They're not loving this. This might, if this is not speaking to someone, a person, it's an energetic energy of like, not wanting growth. And that could refer to the mind too, right? The ego. Like, I am not loving that we are shifting perspective. I'm not loving, this is the mind, the ego is speaking. I'm not loving how you're not getting triggered by that situation. I'm not enjoying you being a self-regulated, self-aware person because just because I said so. Weird, but that's the vibes. Like, okay, and let's move on. Like, I'm not interested in going back to that version. Let's just put it that way, because that's how it's coming out. That version of myself where I questioned endlessly and I was confused and clouded. Like, I am unbothered by this bullshit because I'm stepping into the true essence of who I am. And whether this is a person or your own mindset, yeah, just stop. But there is also an air of caution to not get caught up in the thoughts, because it'll happen. It does happen. And so if this is not a person or energy outside of the form of you, this is internal. This, where was that going? Yeah, so for example, if you're on a path of self-inquiry or healing, when you're kind of realizing, okay, this is just, it's all concept, it's not real, it's all ideas, it's all perspective and perception. There will be little, I'll say little tests, like let's call them little tests, to see how committed you are to learning about yourself. But also, the ego doesn't like the light being shone on it. It absolutely hates it, right? The ego does not like that. So it's going to do everything in its quote unquote power to um, to divert your attention somewhere else. So there's a need to be very aware of, sometimes when you're on a path of reflection, of growth, personal development, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, however this is kind of landing for you, there will be high moments of agitation, and you'll notice it. All of a sudden, all these things will come in, and you're like, what the hell? It will feel like that. It'll feel like this, oh my God, this is too much. Stay the course, stay grounded, okay? Stay grounded. Like, be the witness, stay unbothered, not because you're trying to bypass this experience, but because you're like, this is part of this journey, this is part of this process. I'm aware of that, and I'm freaking prepared. Okay, let's continue. I haven't even pulled out the other cards yet. Transits, climate. Yeah, there's this massive shift. Massive shift. Oh, we've got hustling, making it rain, focus on the bag, money is the mission. This is showing up in the knot. So when it's red in the shadow aspect. What else? Seeing the word thief as well. So I'm hearing stealing of ideas. Maybe that's someone in particular. That's pretty freaking specific. Clout hungry. Viral or nothing. Lives for attention, makes shit up for drama. I'm wondering if this is an old energy that you used to be in. And not as direct as this, but what used to drive you, what used to, how can I phrase that? Drive is probably motivate you, was to do with the outside, right? Leo in the shadow. It's like, gotta get this bag, gotta make money, gotta get attention. Maybe that was an aspect of you that has, like I said, has been in your field. Maybe this is a vasana or like a past life tendency where the focus was I've got to, and it might have not been super like a super conscious thing. It may have been like conditioned that in order to feel like you belong or in order to feel safe, these are the things that you needed. Because I'm not necessarily getting that this is a external person, but if that's the way this is playing out for you, it could be that this is the challenge. This if this is playing out as a personal external to you, not your mind, then perhaps this is like the energy that they bring forth into your field, or this is how you related before. Leo energy, relationships. This is how you related before, or this is what you dealt with, is someone that was less than truthful. Or showed up in a way where it was very much external based. There was not a lot of depth. And this could be you, right? This could be something that challenges you as stepping out of this environment or stepping out of this mindset or this way of being where it's all about how you show. This is full on Leo in the shadow, like how you're showing up to get some sort of reward, some sort of dopamine hit from outside instead of going within. Climate, I didn't show the climate card. Transits, climate. So if you're on this journey, and this is the vibe, right? This is the vibe. You're on this journey and you're healing yourself, but then all of this stuff is kind of coming back because you're now healing, you're working on yourself, you're working through your conditioning, programming, beliefs, mindset. And there's still that, oh, but what about if I do this thing and I, like, I don't know how to, yeah, this might be coming up. I kind of want to read a little bit of the climate just as an add on. 51, 55, what are we? 51, 52, 53 is missing, 54 is missing, 55 and 56, 53 and 54. Yeah, the situation is in flux and the surrounding conditions are changing. Stay alert. That's what I said. Stay alert. Stay aware and be ready to respond to incoming dangers and opportunities. People are moving in, others are leaving, new opportunities open and old chapters close. Listen to the grapevine for changes in personnel or economic conditions. You are not in control of these elements, but you can make the most of these changes and dance with fate. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Let's move on. So, the information, I really do apologize if this is making a lot of noise. The information that's available to us right now, the insight, I should say, is to be gentle with this process. We've got the heal card, but it's showing up in the reverse. Do not rush this. Do not bypass this. There's something to say about the slowness, because we can also get frustrated when things don't move quickly, when things don't change quickly, when we're like, I'm still not there. But that's not the point, right? The point is not to get there. There's no freaking destination. It's just to be with it. Be with it all. We've got hearth, but it's showing up in the reverse as well. And we've got conjunction, alliance. Yeah, it's almost feeling like there is this need to do something quickly, this need to push for something quickly. With the hearth card, it's like this inner flame, but there's a note about readiness, and maybe this is also about finding the right people. If this is in relation to people, it's about finding the right people. Interesting. What's with all these really crazy cards? Threatening, power plays, controlling presence, you feel unsafe? Yeah, as I said, the right people. Tell me more about this hearth. As I said, like, this is about safety, feeling safe. Moving on. Thank you. Next. Yeah, moving on from these kinds of energies, these kinds of, if it's not physical people, alliances, then it's mindset. Like, stop believing the bullshit stories. Moving on. I asked about hearth. Moving on. Interesting. Okay. So, if this was an example, if this was a person or idea or way of being or something familiar that there was strong attachment to, strong fire to. This is what the healing is. You're healing from that, just knowing that it was not maybe well placed, or there was some kind of illusion with it. I hope that's making sense. And I'm showing you in reverse because that's how it came up. But that's what there's this healing from the idea of what that was. 3, 2. I'm just going to read a little bit about that. Do not burn yourself up for another's cause, nor withhold your warmth, but share what you have to offer. This is not a situation where you need to take sides. Come back to the center, to the flame, to your hearth and your core values. Focus on that center flame instead of the personalities involved. Remember what matters. Find that deep calm within. Challenge. Vesta wants you to share yourself rather than sacrifice yourself. Your hard work at holding the situation together may be ignored or taken for granted unless you know your worth. Truth. So if you know yourself, which is what I feel you are doing, if you truly know yourself, then you stay freaking unbothered. These things can come and go. They can come and go, but you stay unbothered. And if you're dealing with people that bothers them the most, right? They become more threatening. They become more agitated because the ego card just dropped out. Hurt ego getting in the way of relationship. Yeah. They don't like that. They don't like, and the speaks the same to the ego. It doesn't like having the light shone on it. They don't like the exposure. I think I'm done with these cards now, but for some reason I wanted these. So I'm going to pull a couple of these. I don't. This one want to be seen. Take an adventure. Take an adventure. Present moment. Yeah, girl. Present moment. Always. One more. Well, if I'm reading it the way I've set it out here, this change, no, I'm not taking all of that. This change that you've been undergoing has been an adventure. Has been an absolute adventure. I'm seeing the mountains. So, there's been different phases of this journey. And there's no phase to reach or phase accomplished, or you're not going to get a gold scar. Interesting. Gold. Now I'm seeing scar from the Lion King and Leo energy, right? Yeah, it's about this. Ooh, interesting. This familiar, because Mufasa was betrayed by Scar, his own brother. Is this a family situation? Yeah, he was betrayed by it. What was I saying? Star. What was I saying? I don't know. It's gone now, but the message was about the Lion King because of Scar. I said something star. Present moment. Yeah, so moving through this climate is going to require being in presence always, though, always. Insight available, please. Intentional legacy and new perspective. So intentional legacy could be, if this is about a family situation, is unbinding from that, unbinding from the mindsets that was, as it were, of this is how we connect with this experience of life. We have to do all these things. We have to be seeking attention, or getting attention, or having money, to be relevant or to be successful, or fill in the blanks, however it is that you relate to these people, or not even relate, but the programming that's been present in your life. You're letting go of that. The burping's happening. There's a letting go of, and that people don't like it. People don't like when you show up differently. Or what? When I say show up differently, they don't like when you're yourself, or when you're detaching from programming, because it's like, what it does is two things. It gives people permission to be themselves, but also it indicates to people that, you know, you can be yourself and still be liked, or you can be yourself and still belong or be relevant, but not in the way you want. Or what was that? It was like, some people don't want to change, right? Some people are pretty freaking happy with where they're at, either because they're quite oblivious to their behavior, or oblivious to the way, like their thinking or their mannerisms or whatever it is. And so the minute you show up differently, it can be quite triggering, right? If you're not relating to them on that level of, I'm hearing gossip, so maybe it's a bit of gossip. If you're not relating to them that way, and I can speak to this personally, then there's like a mismatch of energies. There's this disconnect within the relationship itself. It doesn't have to be that way, right? It doesn't have to be that way, but people believe that if, yeah, it's just a belief system. But there's so many things that actually want to be said, and it's not. So it's okay. It's totally okay. I haven't even pulled any tarot out, and we are getting super close to the end. Wake up, wake up, wake up, tarot. Seeing the death card here. So this is a massive, massive transformation. Death and rebirth. Things have to be let go of in order to I'm hearing resurrect, but it's like you have how does that one be said? Okay, King of Wands in the reverse. Why King of Wands? Why is King of Wands here? Is this a person in your life who, if this is not a person, it's an energetic output of sorts, of someone being overbearing, maybe, or like tries to come across as the leader, but it's not a true reflection. It's not a true reflection. Why are all these cards coming out in the reverse? We've got Ace of Cups and King of Pentacles now in the reverse. This is an energy of loss, of losing, of being out of control, not being in control, emotionally, in terms of finances, in terms of like leadership or action or passion or desire. There seems to be this loss or grief, or there's some heavy emotions about this. I don't feel like this is you though. I feel like this is energies that you're dealing with, or even mindsets. So if this is about what was said before, about the safety of losing the familiar, these are the emotions. Is like, what am I? But you could also be dealing with people, specifically like masculine energies, two masculine energies. Doesn't have to be, but, or as in like masculine, it could be a female even, just showing up in very like her masculine. That's how they put it. But yeah, there just seems to be this emotional loss. Ace of Cups. And obsession with these types of vibes. It's like, yeah, weird. Okay. Let's get one for each pile. Okay. What are we up to? Shit. What are we up to? Shit. That's really interesting. Yeah. This is where you're currently at. Things are changing. Wheel of Fortune. Things are changing, and they're changing. It's like day and night. Things are shifting forward. This is the thread. This is the current thing. Change. And I've been harping on about it. Change, 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 change. This is what's going on. And there are definitely eyes on you, for sure. There are eyes on you. Okay, challenge. 10 of Cups in the challenge. Interesting. So in the position that I'm reading it in, it's showing up in the reverse. So this is pretty much that energy is struggling with things of an emotional nature. And it could be family, it could be relationships. Disharmony, maybe a sense of like a broken family. There's a disconnect. There's a hard disconnect. Insight. Whoa, 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 whoa. Nope, not taking these, please. Shift out. Insight. Death again. But it's showing up in the reverse this time. This is this vibe. This has to happen. This healing, this moving away from, it has to. It's inevitable. It's already happening. Okay, we cannot control this. It's also that vibe of that familiarity, just fearing it, fearing the change because it's unfamiliar. There's nothing to fear. There's absolutely nothing to fear. You have got this. absolutely unequivocally, because it's already happening. It's already happening. So know that this is part of your journey. It's part of the process. Even the challenges, even the sucky, yucky crap. It's all part of it. I'm being reminded of the story of the Lion King again. You know, Simba's father passed because of betrayal, but it allowed Simba to then step up, find himself, step up, deal with all the transitions in the phases of his life. There was loss, heavy loss. There was unfamiliarity, right? He had to leave home, or he was told to leave home, so there was unfamiliar territory there. But he managed to survive, and not only survive, he thrived, right? So there's definitely something to be said about going through the motions, and I'm seeing 1011, so 111111. Yeah, anyway, yeah, there's definitely something to be said about embracing the unfamiliarity. Embrace the unfamiliar. And I've got the create some space card. So I said that at the very, very start. If you need to have your own space or create space, or be in an environment where, if it's not physical space, mental space, like clearing your thoughts, that is something that will benefit you during whenever you see this. Chamber of Surrender. Boom shakalaka and a bag of chips. Chamber of Surrender. That's it. That is it. Surrender. Surrender. Okay. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I thoroughly enjoyed being in this space. I love seeing the nature and what's going on outside. So yeah, take care of yourself. I hope that this resonated with you. If it does, feel free to do all the things. I have opened up a Substack, but I'm being very slow with that. Okay, and yeah, I have a Rumble as well, but that's more like a backup. Anyway, thank you, and take care of yourselves massively. You have got this. Okay, you have got this. I do not believe in coincidences, so it's really hard for me to say goodbye. That's very interesting. So yeah, make sure that you're mindful when that happens. Like, you're mindful of any attachments to the ideas that are familiar. Like, let go of that which is familiar, because how else are you going to grow, right? There is power in the uncertainty. Lean into that. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to move on. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week, or weekend, or whenever you see this. Enjoy your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now. Mwah.